Hey guys, so I figured I would take a second to show you how I turn my snuggle sprout pattern into these spooky sprouts that I've been making and everybody seems to really be enjoying. I have had a couple questions as to how I do the vines going up the legs of them, as well as the coloring around the eyes. So I figured I'd make a quick little YouTube tutorial to show you what it is I do. Okay, so for this guy, I'm going to be using Soho Squishy in the color Cream Puff for the body. This is a very pretty cream color. I like it a lot. And then for the petals, I'm going to be using Premier Parfait Chunky in the color Plum, also a very pretty color. And then for the feet and the bonnet, I am going to be using Soho Squishy in the color Panther. And then I'm going to hold this yarn with that to make the feet, and this is Pixie Dust by Premier, and this will be the vines as well. And it's important to get a thinner yarn for your vines. And then I'm going to be using makeup brushes and this palette that I got from Five Below. I'm going to use these three eyeshadows as well as the mauve color that's two colors over from the black as blush. Okay, so I finished the arms and I just wanted to walk you through what I did for the legs. So for rounds 1 through 4, I held the Soho Squishy Black in the Pixie Dust together and I crocheted those rounds. And then round 5 and 6, I alternated between the black and the cream. So the black and whatever your body color is. And then round 7, I made sure was just the cream. So you want to finish with just your body color. And I just randomly did these so that there's some that go higher and some that are color changed. It's a little easier to see once you get the feet worked up, and have a body. So you can see where the black goes higher up is where I'm going to be putting the thicker vines. And again, I just randomly place these. There's no rhyme or reason. I just do what my heart desires. Okay, so I've put my eyes in. I have yet to secure them, but I do have the backings kind of pushed on just to get a gauge as to where my eyeballs will sit, but they're not secured because I'm going to take them out to put my makeup on it. He's going to get a little smoky eye. So I'm grabbing a paper towel to clean my brush off because it's a lot easier to have it sitting next to me so I don't make mistakes. And then I pop out the eye and I put my finger where the post of the eye is just so I know where I want the darker portion of the color to be versus where the lighter is. And I'm starting with the two lighter grays because it's a lot easier to start light and build to a darker color versus putting a darker color on really heavy and then having too much color. So I'm just gonna build like a backward C for this eye because I want the color to hug the outer edge of it. And then obviously we mirror it on the other side. So I'm using the two lighter grays and I'm kind of just blending out and creating a base. And then I'm going to use the black and put it on a little bit heavier towards my finger so that there's a little bit more depth closer to the eye is going to be dark, and then as it gets further away it's going to be like a lighter gray and blend out so that there's not like a harsh line. um and then if forever whatever reason you have to go from the dark back to the light, that's when you clean off your brush with the paper towel real quick so that you don't accidentally put black right on the edge. Um, and you'll see I check to see where the gray is sitting, so I just put the eyeball in real quick and I notice that I want a little bit more gray up at the top and around like the edge of it. So I'm going to clean off my brush because I was just using the darker colors, and I'm going to take the lighter color and I'm going to just lightly add more gray, making sure that I blend out the edge as best that I can so that it's a soft, gradual gray into that darker color when it sits closer to the eye. And like I said, this is kind of a build upon versus just laying it really heavy and then trying to blend it out. And so I take my time. Okay, so I've gotten the smoky eye the way that I want it, and I added some blush for our little guy. I've sewn the head closed and all that, and now I'm just working on creating the vines. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I said where the black goes up higher is where you're going to create like the bigger, thicker vines. And so what I'm working on is just creating a vine. I'm going to show you how. Hopefully, I don't confuse you. Um, so you're going to take your pixie dust and you're just going to weave it in at the foot, and you're going to come up at that taller portion of that color change, and you want to come up in between a single crochet. So not in between two single crochets sitting next to each other, but the actual single crochet itself. So if you look at a single crochet, it kind of has like a V, and you want to come up in the middle of that. And this just kind of helps to prevent like a larger hole from happening. So I'm right now I'm just seeing what angle I want this vine to be. I really don't like follow a pattern or map out where I want them or have any kind of plan. I'm literally just going off of like what visually looks appealing to me, whatever makes my heart happy. And once I've decided where I want that first portion of this branch to go and what angle I want it at, I'm going to insert my needle into the body, and I'm going to come back out where I came out through that single crochet. And I'm just going to repeat this step 2 to 3 times. I want the base of the vine to be thicker, and then it's kind of going to thin out and taper out the taller it gets or as it grows. So this is going to be like a bigger vine. So I'm doing 3 at the bottom, and then the next angle I'll do 2, and then I'll add like a little Y branch that'll just be 1. So once I've done the 3, like repeated the step 3 times, I'm going to come out where I want the angle for my second portion of this branch to be. And if I start like with the vine going right, I tend to jet left on my second portion of it, or vice versa. If I start with it going left, I tend to jet right. So I'm just creating the second portion, and once I've done it twice, I come out kind of like in the middle but closer towards the top to make that little Y branch. And once you've figured out where you want that little branch to be and how tall you want it, you're going to insert your needle and you're going to come back out by the feet, and then you're going to create another vine. And there's honestly like there's no pattern. I keep doing it until my heart is happy, but I try to make sure not to overwhelm the plushie with these vines. So um, sometimes I'll like cross them over each other. Sometimes I'll add really little ones. Sometimes I'll add ones that have multiple of the little tiny branches on them. It's honestly just like what my eyes think look good. And the great part about it is if you place one that you don't like, you can always take your yarn off your needle, undo it, and start over. So it's very forgiving in that sense. So I'm just going to keep working on these vines and I will show you my finished sprout. Okay, here's my little guy all done. I did add some details to the petals and using the pixie dust. It's just 3 little lines, nothing crazy. That blush really matches well with the petals. It's kind of hard to see on here. And then there's the vines. They do go all the way around the body. Hopefully this tutorial was somewhat helpful for you, and if you make a spooky sprout, I'd love for you to tag me in it so I could see it. Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Until next time, bye!